high risk. Okay, now let's give you this live look overhead. And now from this angle, we are able to see the flames shooting out of the roof. So this looks much more serious from this angle. And now we can see that this ladder truck is really critical to fighting this fire, because you can see that they're able to get to the flames overhead. That's really the goal there. And we can see numerous streams, at least 4 different streams that the fire crews are using to try to put out the flames here. And what we see is that the fire is, thankfully it's not centered around the station pumps, because that would likely mean an explosion. But what we're seeing is that it seems to be focused in the convenience store portion, the kind of transactional portion of this gas station. So our Atlanta News First Chopper getting you this aerial look, apart from our other views from the ground, but this is really the best view of what's happening, being able to see overhead. And you can see, even though there has been significant progress made in this firefight, and firefighters have been working diligently, quickly, effectively, they have made progress, there is still a tough battle ahead. You can see the front of the building, if you will, which is now at this point the lower part of your screen. I mean, you see it's burned out. I mean, it's just a loss. But those flames are out. The flames that are now the focus are the flames kind of in the back of the building, so closer to the top of your screen. And obviously it's critical that this is contained, because it's at a gas station. And so the risk of, flammability and potentially even an explosion is there. It is present. It's high at a gas station. So we see it's all hands on deck for this fire. And you can look at the excellent work that they're doing with the ladder truck taking this on from above. Again, they're spraying out the fire. They're trying their best using hoses from the ground and from the sky above, from the ladder truck, and trying to really get this thing contained. And you look down at the ground and the damage, the debris, and we see a burned out car. I mean, that car is like a shell of a car. And a lot of other debris littering the exterior of the building there. What a loss. What a loss. Obviously, if you are, traveling, thankfully it's 1 o'clock. It's not like it's the peak of commuting hour, of rush hour. But if you're traveling and you're planning your route, of course, you are advised to avoid Northside Drive. It appears that it is at least partially shut down. From this particular angle, we know it's at least partially shut down, because there were trucks. Let me show you a ground look just for a second for people who are trying to drive. I can't see clearly if it's shut down in both directions, to be perfectly honest with you. But presumably you would want to avoid Northside Drive at the 75 southbound at all costs, because it's going to be shut down. And you also just want to give firefighters the room to do what they need to do to put this out and get everybody, keep everybody safe. But it is a positive sign as we're looking at this aerial view. What we saw previously were flames shooting out of the roof. The roof essentially burned off of, the convenience store portion of this gas station, and we saw flames just shooting out of the roof. And then what we're seeing is more smoke at this point. Now we do see a little bit of flame still. Do see a little bit of flame still. I mean, and the thing is that the smoke is, of course, obstructing the view. So we're just going to try to see what we can see. looking more maybe like 24 firefighters on the scene from just looking and counting. So now, with this wider look, you can see at least half a dozen fire trucks, large fire trucks on the scene there. You can see that traffic is being rerouted. So you're going to want to avoid Northside Drive. Looks like that stretch of Northside Drive completely shut down both directions. That stretch of Northside Drive near the Shell gas station and near the Diamond Strip Club at 75 southbound shut down in both directions. Please, you're advised not to travel in that area. You're not going to get too far, and you're also going to create some congestion in an area where emergency personnel need to be able to get in and out quickly. I did see an ambulance on the scene, and it's pretty typical in situations like this when there is a massive fire and you need a massive response from first responders. But when you see it appears to be a police vehicle on the scene, so it's all hands on deck. But right now we are working to confirm if anyone was hurt in this. Like I did mention, there's an ambulance on the scene, but we didn't see it being actively used. We saw the ambulance on the scene. We did not see it being actively used. So hopefully, we hope that no one is hurt. We're working to confirm. And of course, the cause of this is under investigation. Well, first and foremost, they got to put out the fire, right? Obviously. And at some point, there will be an investigation into where this started, how this started. Obviously, we're going to continue to follow all of that. But the positive news, as you are watching this live with me, this aerial view, is we see more smoke than flames. At this particular moment, I do not see flames. Whereas earlier, we were seeing flames shooting out of the roof. So that's a positive. But we are seeing the smoke turn a little bit of a whiter color. So again, that's a positive that they're making progress. But obviously, it's not done. And even after flames appear to be out, there's always a risk of hot spots and basically a restart. So it's absolutely critical that firefighters, I mean, they know what they're doing, but what we typically see is that they work to put out any potential hot spots, and they want these structures that catch fire to be saturated with water because they don't want to take any risk. And we can see that they're working very hard. Now, we do see a little bit of flame left in one portion of the building. Okay, more than that, more than a little. So we see it seems to be now contained to one corner of that building. And that firefight's still underway. And it seems at times that they'll make some progress and the flames will kind of fire back up. So, again, if you're traveling in this area, Northside Drive at 75 southbound, you should avoid this area. And you can see there's a big traffic backup as well on Northside Drive. And you can see that all the lanes are shut down in that particular stretch. I'm going to hand things off to my colleague, Maria Moreau. She's going to continue our coverage here.
All right, you guys are taking a live look right now. First alert chopper over the scene, Northside Drive near I-75 southbound. If you live in Midtown, if you frequent Midtown, you know this area quite well. This is often a path that people take when they are headed in to work, from work to their weekend events. This is just a busy area for a lot of folks, a lot of businesses surrounding this area, and a residential space. Our first alert chopper expanding the view just a little for you. So you have a lot of businesses here. You have some residential areas over that greenery where the trees are. I know that this was an area that I was at just yesterday, so talk about how busy it is for folks. Luckily, as my colleague Joy mentioned, it's 1 o'clock, so not peak commute hours. A lot of folks still at work right now. It's just past the lunch period, so you're not seeing a whole lot of traffic impacts. But as you can see from the firefighters, fire trucks, and some ambulances that we're seeing, at least one ambulance from what I can tell on scene, the lanes near the scene of this fire understandably blocked off. So if you are a commuter with plans to come through here, this firefighting effort looks quite active, and in it's really the middle of firefighting efforts. It is not at any tail end where we can expect a road reopening. This is going to likely go on for quite some time. So we're going to stay up with this for you on Atlanta News First Plus. Thought I'd show my face to you all just for a moment as we talk about this. I'll bring you back full, but for those that are just jumping on, because I see a few of you on our YouTube live watching, for those of you watching on our Roku, Apple, Amazon Fire TVs, we are going to stay up with this for you on Atlanta News First Plus, but just to relay all of the information that we know right now, there are several firefighting trucks and at least one ambulance from what we can see from our first alert chopper over the scene here on Northside Drive at I-75 southbound, battling a massive blaze that has broken out at a Shell gas station in this area, just off of the roadway. But as you can imagine, traffic impacts already. Both sides of traffic really in this area is completely blocked off. You can see law enforcement, firefighters, and at least one ambulance on the scene. All right, just stepping away to talk with the rest of the staff here at the newsroom. Again, we are working, all of us, to get you any and all information we can about this, including for my motorists out there, when you can expect any lane reopening, as well as really trying to figure out what prompted this massive blaze on Northside Drive and whether there are any injuries. We do see just gray and black smoke billowing out from the top of this Shell gas station, the convenience store side of it. And I do believe earlier we saw a vehicle that was engulfed in some of those flames. No clue if that is connected to what caused this fire to start. That is all going to come later. I believe Joy kind of explained at the top, they are working on putting out this fire, and then the investigation portion will come out and we'll get really the bulk of the details of what prompted all this. Right now, we are here to kind of show you the scene as it is happening right now. You can see a firefighter on a very large ladder. I could not bring myself to do that. So a big appreciation to our men and women who protect our communities just like this. Our first alert chopper getting away momentarily from this scene, just showing you kind of a wider view. I'm going to bring you our traffic camera right here that's going to kind of bring you more up close to what that firefighting effort looks like. And actually, let me see if I can put both of those in a box so you can kind of see them side by side. But there you have it. Several firefighters on the ground. You have at least 3 fire hoses from what we can see from our first alert chopper. One kind of shooting water down from above, and then 2 coming in from the sides. And it looks like they're concentrating on this convenience store portion of the Shell gas station where we did just a moment ago see some flames still emitting out from there, and the roof is just caving in from the water and the smoke and some of those flames that can still be seen, and just the magnitude of smoke billowing out from here, stretching across this area, I'm sure into other businesses and residential spaces. And right now, these firefighters are just focusing on making sure that that fire doesn't spread and making sure that they can put out those flames to the best of their ability. I'm still working on getting that side-by-side box for you guys, so just bear with me here for a moment. So you can see first alert chopper here that just left me. Actually, let's get you back to the Georgia Department of Transportation traffic camera. We did just lose our first alert chopper visual, but we do still have the traffic camera that we can show you here kind of from the side, what you saw momentarily in an aerial perspective, that firefighter shooting water down into this area. And I do believe we have a crew on the ground right now, so you can expect us to continue to bring you these updates and anything we learn from there on Atlanta News First News starting at 3 o'clock. But keeping you here watching this live perspective from the GDOT camera, as you can see that smoke just covering the convenience store portion, and there's a second hose that has just been set up to also shoot water at this fire. Again, we do not have any clarification from fire officials right now on where in their firefighting strategy they are right now. Just from the looks of this, from the magnitude of smoke, and from how many firefighters we can see on scene, this is very much still an active investigation, and it looks like just a moment ago from our first alert chopper, we saw some flames still visible, so no word yet on whether the fire has been put out. It still seems to be the primary focus for these firefighters at this very moment. And of course, the street on Northside Drive is blocked off. You're not getting through this area, so a good reminder for you, if this is a commute you're planning to take, I would say within the next 3 hours, just find some alternate paths for your destination home or your destination to your weekend event, wherever this Friday might be taking you. This Shell gas station right now, the scene of a fire that has apparently broken out within, and this is just me speculating here, within this convenience store. That seems to be where firefighters are concentrating their efforts right now, and you can just see gray, black, and brown smoke billowing up and out from this roof that has seemingly just collapsed at this point. Very important when we're talking about gas stations. I believe this was mentioned at the very top of our stream here, is the flammable fumes that we have in gas. So there is always a concern about not letting it spread to areas that can prompt fire acceleration or worse, an explosion, and that doesn't seem to be the case here. This is a concentrated and strategic effort from firefighters to bring this fire down and extinguish it fully so that they can investigate really what prompted all this. Right now, you can see at least 3 fire hoses concentrating water within this convenience store portion of the Shell gas station. And I do believe our traffic camera is just frozen for a moment. Hopefully we can get that shot back. There we go. Live picture for you. Northside Drive at I-75 southbound. I'm going to pull up a map here so you can kind of see, if you're unfamiliar with this area, where exactly this is. But as I mentioned, this is really a popular path for motorists to take, for people living in Midtown or traversing through Midtown. There's a lot of businesses in this area. On the other side of this, there are some residential spaces, so you can imagine there's community concern for this fire spreading, but it does look like firefighters, just from what I can see, are doing everything they can to keep this contained. All right, managed to find you a map of where this is. I'm going to pull that up for you now. I'll keep the G dot camera just so you can see a live picture of what's going on here on your left-hand side, and then let me bring in the map on the right-hand side. Oh, not it. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. So left hand, you have a live picture of several firefighters on scene battling this blaze at a Shell gas station on Northside Drive. And then, of course, this area right here, just a simple Google map just showing you where this is, Northside Drive along I-75. And some of the businesses that surround this area. So you could see that there are several, not only just food, but other businesses and residential spaces in this area. I do believe, actually, there we go. I want to make sure that I get you guys the correct. Okay. I do apologize for a moment there. Just getting you the correct map here of which Shell gas station, because there are many around Midtown. But this is, again, the Northside Drive at I-75 southbound, just showing you some of the businesses that surround this area. Again, residential spaces, just a popular path for motorists, a busy street. I was on this street yesterday picking up my dog, so you can imagine a lot of people move through here. And right now, you're not going to see a single car. If you look over to the far right of your screen, you can see that all of those lanes are blocked off right now. No ETA right now from what we've gathered on when those lanes are expected to clear up. This is all dependent on whether firefighters can safely extinguish these flames and, again, bring this blaze down to a safe and really a position that they can start investigating what exactly took place here. But here's what we do know. There is a fire actively being battled right here by Atlanta Fire at a Shell gas station on Northside Drive at I-75 southbound. This scene has been active for quite some time now. I would say over the past hour, if not more. All right, that smoke is seemingly taken up really the entirety of this camera right here that we're showing you, the Georgia Department of Transportation traffic camera. Just beyond this, believe it or not, if you were with us earlier, is a Shell gas station with a convenience store attached to it, and that is really where firefighters are concentrating their efforts. Now, an important message to you motorists out there, Northside Drive is really a popular path to take if you're getting off I-75 or coming in through downtown. Know that you are going to have to plan some of those alternate routes and just avoid this area altogether. I-75 corridor and that bridge leading up to it closed off. Firefighters are creating quite and law enforcement for that matter, a good perimeter to make sure that no one's coming close or putting themselves at risk of being near this fire. So you're going to want to start planning your commute home in a different way. Howell Mill Road is a good alternate route for you to take. Again, just avoiding this area as best as you can. Look ahead, take this time now if you're watching this, and take a look at your phone. If this Northside Drive at I-75, if you're coming in from downtown, if this is a path that you are going to go down, you're going to want to find some ways to get around it. No ETA on when lanes will reopen, but that fire, I mean, you can see it for yourselves, is still smoke billowing out from this, again, gas station, and firefighters hard at work to put the flames out, bring this fire down, and hopefully launch their investigation and reopen the road for you after work commuters trying to kickstart your weekend. But right now, if you are trying to tune into this and get a plan on your traffic conditions ahead of time, just know if you're coming in from downtown, if you're using the bridge, and that is going to put you on this path, the Northside Drive, coming off I-75 corridor, this is completely blocked off, not just on the side, I believe the southbound side, going past this Shell gas station, but also the northbound lanes that do also appear to be blocked off by these fire trucks. You're just not going to get near this area while firefighters are hard at work putting this blaze out. Howell Mill Road is going to be a good alternate route. We've got a couple of other alternate routes you can take, but the best bet is just to look at your map or travel app that you might use and just avoid this path altogether. Again, leaving this shot up for you, Northside Drive at I-75 southbound, that ramp leading up to I-75. That is just not going to be an option for you right now and likely in the next couple of hours. So I'm going to check with the team, see if we have any updates on whether there have been any reported injuries and any other information that you're going to want to know about. But I'll leave this shot up for you. Again, I-75 southbound at Northside Drive. You know that that area leading up to the I-75 southbound ramp closed off right now, and the scene of a very active and just very really massive blaze. There's no other way to put it, as that smoke has just started to extend for a couple of miles into nearby communities and nearby businesses in this very usually busy roadway. So again, avoiding this area as best as you can and allowing law enforcement, firefighters, and medical personnel to do what they do best in protecting this area and bringing this fire to a contained state. All right, no reports at this time of any injuries. Again, we're working to learn any and all information that we can relay to you here on Atlanta News First Plus regarding this massive blaze on Northside Drive at I-75 southbound. This is the common path that people take leading up to I-75, that ramp. If you're coming in from downtown and you're planning to take the northbound lanes of all of this, you're just not going to have much luck. They have closed off both southbound and northbound lanes in this area along Northside Drive. So an important notice to my drivers out there who are getting closer and closer to their after working hours. Maybe you're trying to get home, or maybe you're going to your event. A lot of people coming in for shaky knees. So we're just going to have a lot of movement in Atlanta just generally. So make sure that you are making a plan, looking at traffic ahead of time, and know that this path, Northside Drive, is just not going to be an option for you at this time. What you do want to do is take Howell Mill Road and seeking some other alternate routes that just get you around this area. That's going to be your best bet right now. But as you can see, taking this live full right now, that firefighting effort being concentrated on the convenience store portion of this Shell gas station, and it does seem that the roof has just completely collapsed at this point from where we started when we brought you this stream And taking a look at the smoke that is billowing out, that color tells you a lot about what's going on beneath on the interior of this building that we can't really see from this angle. But that gray and black smoke really speaks to the magnitude of the flames that might very much still be active just inside this building, and that roof just doesn't appear to be there anymore, to put it frankly. There are at least 3 fire hoses, from what I can count, 2 from the side, 1 from above, that are working to contain this fire and bring it to an extinguished state. Not clear on where in the firefighting process that these fire and rescue crews are at, but just if you had to take a guess, an uneducated guess, they are still in the midst of bringing this fire to a contained state. So until that happens, until they can safely clear off the debris and everything and launch their investigation into the cause of the fire, you're just not going to have much luck with these lanes reopening. And I do expect that to get into the 3 o'clock hour, where a lot of people are starting to get off work. It is Friday, so maybe you're getting out early. But that is really when the commute starts to get heavy, leaving the 3 o'clock hour into 4, 5, and 6. So we are going to stay on top of this here for you at Atlanta News First Plus. Again, Northside Drive at I-75 southbound is really the scene that you're going to want to avoid as best as you can, as smoke, gray, black, brown smoke billowing up and out from this convenience store of a Shell gas station. And thankfully, and I say this just with community concern, because there are so many businesses surrounding this area and even a residential space just beyond it. Thankfully, it does appear that the fire is currently contained to this building, and fire crews are hard at work making sure it stays that way. And I do believe that we are losing the total shot of where that smoke is billowing out, but we still have a shot of the roadway, and that's really where the impact is for you drivers out there. You can see both northbound, southbound lanes on Northside Drive leading up to I-75 southbound is currently closed off, and closed off for quite some distance. It isn't just this area. You commuters out there that are coming in from downtown, that are maybe using this I-75 corridor or the bridge that leads up to it, there's quite an extensive perimeter to make sure that no one gets near this fire, and allowing crews to safely and efficiently contain the situation without having to worry about any other injuries or any drivers that might be impacted by this. So just avoid this area as best as you can. Times like these, very important to allow law enforcement to do the best job that they can in containing this fire and making sure the community is safe. So you can see investigators, police, at least 1 ambulance from what I saw, and firefighters on scene. And again, we do not have control over this camera. We can show you just based off of what GDOT provides for us, and I do believe they have turned this camera away from the scene, either as a precaution to investigators or just to better monitor the surrounding area. So I am showing you, this is still Northside Drive leading up to I-75 southbound, but all lanes are closed. You're not going to see much activity from drivers, and I do believe GDOT has kindly returned the camera to its original state, showing you really that scene of the fire at a Shell gas station, and really the convenience store being at the center of where firefighters are focusing their efforts. All right, taking another look here, you can see a couple of different strategies being utilized. And I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. I am in no way a firefighting expert. I'm just telling you what we see here on the camera. So you can see there is a fire hose, two of them at least. One is a little off camera, but we saw it earlier in First Alert Chopper, that is concentrating their efforts, that water, shooting it inside of this convenience store from the side, and then that main fire hose that has been there from the start of this stream coming in on a rather long and large ladder, shooting water down into the interior of this convenience store. Again, the roof just seems to be completely gone at this point as smoke billows out. And it started a little over an hour ago with this little charcoal black and gray color, but now it's turned more into a lighter brown and white. And if you are familiar with watching firefighting videos, or maybe you have a firefighter in your life, that can kind of give you some idea of what's going on the inside, where we cannot see in terms of how large those flames are or where they are in their firefighting tactics. And it does appear that their concentrated efforts do appear to be working. As that smoke color lifts into a lighter color, we expect that you just start seeing less and less flames, and then it's just a matter of putting out those hot spots and really fully extinguishing that fire, bringing it to a fully extinguished state where you don't have flames, where you don't have hot spots, and you can safely begin investigating. But right now you can see there are several firefighters just on standby. They have either been already part of this effort to bring this fire down and are making sure that they are watching and closely monitoring in case this does take a turn and they do need to get involved, and also being on standby to help with the investigation portion. We still don't know what caused this fire and what prompted all of this, and we hope to get those details soon. But again, the focus with all of this right now is making sure that that fire doesn't spread, considering that you have a major roadway, that you have surrounding businesses and residential spaces that are just beyond where this Shell gas station sits. So again, we're following all of this closely, and the biggest impact are going to be for motorists right now who are, if you are somebody who takes this path, if you're coming in from downtown, if you are going to be using either northbound or southbound lanes on Northside Drive, the bad news is you are just not going to be able to, not until law enforcement lifts these closures and allows traffic to come through, and that often doesn't happen until they can safely clear debris and smoke and at least get a headway into their investigation. So if you are somebody who is planning to take this route after work or wherever you may be going later on this afternoon and evening, you're just going to want to either take Howell Mill Road or seek some alternate routes just to get around this particular area. continuing to monitor this fire at a Shell gas station on Northside Drive at I-75 southbound. You can see some movement from firefighters as I believe they're moving equipment from this area. One of the firefighters bringing that hose more towards the front of this convenience store, and there it goes, launching that water again upward towards where we see smoke billowing up and out from the rooftop area. And then that firefighter on top of the ladder in your top, just really at the top of your screen, a little cut off, but you can see the water shooting down, and that's really the biggest help and vantage point, is attacking those flames and that smoke from above and making sure that it doesn't have room to grow up and out. So you have different angles that firefighters are taking. You have the aerial, and then you have two firefighters now coming in from the sides, one more towards the front of this convenience store from the ground. I wish I could zoom in for you guys, but again, we are taking you through the perspective of a traffic camera here on Northside Drive at I-75 southbound. Not much control over moving this traffic camera, just because its primary function is for Georgia Department of Transportation to monitor road conditions. So they are kind enough to allow us to share this visual with you, but again, I don't have too many capabilities to zoom in and out and kind of change the angle. So showing you this perspective, you can see smoke billowing up and out from this convenience store, and you have firefighting crews, investigators, law enforcement on scene. And we did earlier see an ambulance, but there have been no reports from fire and rescue at this very moment of whether anyone has been injured. Sometimes, and actually very often, they call an ambulance just out of a precaution. So just because you see an ambulance doesn't necessarily mean that there has been an injury. Oftentimes you will have at least one ambulance on standby so that they can respond as quickly and as efficiently and take preventative measures to be available for any medical services that may be needed. But so far, I do believe we have some movement with that smoke now kind of spreading and covering most of this Shell gas station, and that has happened periodically throughout the point of this stream. I do believe that's just a result of wind. Anytime the wind picks up, that smoke kind of covers up the camera or what we try to show you through that camera. The important thing here is that you see firefighters very diligently, efficiently trying to bring these flames and this smoke down to a contained point and hopefully fully extinguish this fire so that they can properly investigate what caused it. And there's understandably a lot of concern when you talk about a gas station fire because of the flammability of gas and the banks that sit below the ground here at the gas station. It doesn't appear that is right now an immediate concern, as that fire is contained to the convenience store portion. However, they do seem to be very diligently keeping it away from spreading to where you see the pumps more towards the right side of your screen. All right, still following this GDOT camera showing you the scene of Northside Drive at I-75 southbound. Again, just checking to see if we have any updated reports. What we do know so far is that both lanes in the area of Northside Drive, both southbound and northbound, have been blocked off. So if you are using this path to either commute home or go to your weekend activity, I know there's a lot of events happening in Atlanta this weekend, primarily in Midtown and surrounding areas that you might find yourself on Northside for. Just know that you are not going to have much luck getting through here. You're going to want to avoid this area and find some alternate routes, one of which was Howell Mill Road, if you want to take that instead to get you around and onto I-75 southbound or from I-75 southbound. And just again monitoring the situation. There has been a significant improvement. If you take a look at the smoke on the left-hand side of your screen, it does appear to have drastically lightened in color, indicating that the majority of the flames that we saw when we were first bringing you this scene, and I'm going to play that for you here. This is previously what we showed you from First Alert Chopper. As you could see, some flames emitting from this convenience store of the Shell gas station, and really the color of the smoke being black and brown really indicates, as well as just the visibility of those flames climbing up and out from that rooftop, shows you the severity of the situation of where we were about an hour ago in our live stream. And you could see at least 4 fire hoses being used in a really aggressive manner towards those flames to put them out, or at least contain them from spreading to nearby residential spaces, businesses. You have a lot of trees in the area that move flames around quite easily, so you could see aggressive tactics, and I do believe I said 4, and there were five fire hoses being used. Again, this is not the current situation as it appears right now. This is what we were showing you an hour ago. A lot slower movement on the smoke and a lightened color, indicating that there has been some improvement to bring those flames down or fully extinguish them and then focus on hot spots. But you could see how many firefighters were on scene focusing on this area in the midst of those flames climbing up and out from the rooftop of this Shell gas station. And there you have it. There's the best vantage point that we could have possibly brought you. As you can see, really the concentration of flames and what part of this building they were in, and just the speed at which they're billowing out and rising up and out from the rooftop that has since very visibly collapsed or just lost all of its structural integrity. And you can see some damage to at least one of the gas station pumps that appears to be charred and really damaged significantly by the fire. Again, this is First Alert Chopper from earlier, about an hour ago at the top of the 1 o'clock hour, where we were showing you the extent of that smoke and the flames that were emitting. And coming out of this, just to show you the current situation, this is what it looks like now. So you still have firefighting crews coming in from the sides and from really that aerial point, concentrating water down into this rooftop area, but a slight improvement on the color of the smoke. And again, we have not seen visible flames for quite some time, so really good signs there. The roads continue to be closed, and they will remain that way until law enforcement is able to fully extinguish that fire and safely clear those roadways. And I know that a couple of those investigators and emergency responders are observing and monitoring carefully. I do want to just emphasize that you are taking a live look right now through the GDOT camera at Northside Drive at I-75 southbound, where firefighting tactics are still very much being used diligently and very carefully and intentionally to battle this blaze. I-75 southbound and northbound lanes, these lanes on Northside Drive that lead up to the interstate, are blocked off, and there's quite an extensive perimeter around this area. So if you are somebody who's going to be getting on the road soon, you're just going to want to find a path that doesn't bring you close to this area. Howell Mill Road's a good option. Just finding some alternate routes as best as you can, and really trying to stay away from this scene as fire crews battle what appears to be still significant amounts of smoke near the Shell gas station. Earlier in First Alert Chopper, we were showing you some of the damage. At this point, I can comfortably say, just from watching this, that the roof has completely collapsed, and we saw significant damage to at least one gas pump. It does appear that they are focusing on keeping that fire and that smoke away from the other pumps. Understandably, a very flammable area where we're talking about gasoline. So anytime the wind blows, it does seem to blow in the direction of this traffic camera. But as you can see, it comes and goes, and you can see visibility, and then we lose it just for a brief moment. But it does appear that the situation is slightly improving as the color of that smoke is lightening, indicating that the flames have come down from where we were about an hour ago. The biggest impact right now, again, is going to be to you drivers out there. And maybe you're a fan of the Shell gas station. Maybe this is your favorite gas station to go to. For that, my condolences. You are not going to be able to use it probably for quite some time. But again, the important thing in this and what we are following is whether there have been any reported injuries. We saw an ambulance here at the very start of our live stream, and we haven't heard from Fire and Rescue whether they have seen any injuries, and it's very likely that that ambulance was called as just a precaution. If they did have to respond to injuries, there was an ambulance already on standby ready to respond. So we're going to continue to follow this for you here on Atlanta News First Plus. Again, if you have a commute that requires you to go down through this area, there are some alternate routes that are available to you. Download the Atlanta News First app. That is going to be a fantastic resource if you want to set your notifications to only breaking news so that you can follow this closely. We will send you updates on major developments and anything we learn regarding this active fire that is currently underway at Northside Drive near the I-75 southbound on-ramp, and we will continue to monitor everything that comes out of this. We do have Atlanta News First a crew on the ground, and we will bring you a live report on Atlanta News First News starting at 3 o'clock.